Here they have them out here. Look, they're displayed here with the prices like this. Look, see, they put them there with ice on top so they stay fresh. This much, 1,500, 4,000, 8,000. I'm in the city of Bangkok, the capital of Thailand, one of the last countries in the world where it's still legal to consume the famous and controversial shark fin soup. Shark fishing just for their fins is one of the most horrifying, sadistic, and wasteful practices. Wasteful, uneconomical, and inhumane ever practiced by humans. The first international ban was signed in 2004 with 63 countries, mostly the European Union and other developed countries. But little by little, Asian countries started joining in, but here in Thailand, not yet. But what's the problem then? How much do these annoying environmentalists bother you? If you eat fish and seafood, nothing happens. Why do they make such a fuss? Why do they keep making such a fuss about sharks? The problem is that sharks can't reproduce in captivity. Therefore, there can't be farms to raise sharks for human consumption like there are for tilapia, shrimp, and so on. Even in their natural habitat, they don't reproduce every year. It can take up to 12 years for them to reproduce. The shark is the oldest and most important predator in the oceans. By fishing them so excessively, we are destroying ecosystems from the top down. To satisfy this voracious appetite for shark fin soup, we are killing 100 million sharks per year. 100 million. That's a huge amount. It simply can't go on like this. The shark is not only older than the dinosaurs, it has been controlling ecosystems since before trees themselves existed. It has survived all the mass extinctions, meteorites, and ice ages that planet Earth has gone through. But it might not survive humans. We are killing 3 sharks every second. Since the beginning of every ecosystem, the shark has been there. It is simply one of the most important forces maintaining balance in the animal kingdom. Well, let them die, why should I care? The beaches would be safer. Now I could go swimming without worrying. Oh man, how can I explain this to you? Look, the beaches won't look like that anymore. Have you seen the sargassum in Cancun? That's how the entire surface of the ocean on Earth will look if there are no sharks. There wouldn't be anything to eat the medium-sized predators, which would eat the small fish, which would eat the algae. There wouldn't be any fish left for us either. Corals or reefs would go extinct, so all the fish markets would close, the economy would collapse, and the sea would look like this. Not only would you lose the beaches and the fish, it could even affect the oxygen levels on our planet. All this without mentioning the cruelty of the industry. The shark is caught, taken out of the water. They cut off all its fins and throw it back into the sea alive. The shark breathes by swimming. Not being able to control where it goes without its fins, it just sinks to the bottom of the ocean, where in a very slow process, it dies of hunger or suffocation. Imagine if we did this with tuna, taking it out, cutting off its fins, and wasting the rest. Or with chicken, if we only ate the wings and threw the rest away. So why do we do it with sharks? This is an outrageous and very cruel waste. Imagine yourself without arms or legs, agonizing in pain, trying to drink some water. Now it's 100 million a year. Here's the catalog right outside, look. Up to 10,000 bahts, which is the currency of Thailand. 8,000 and 6,000, depending on which portion you want. Look, they put it here for you. And on the door there's the little fin as a logo. Look, there. And the worst part, the most outrageous and absurd thing of all, shark fins are tasteless. They have no flavor. Let's say it's tasty, it doesn't taste like nails. The flavor of shark fin soup comes from the other ingredients they add. They have to cook it for hours to separate and soften the cartilage it's made of. And all that's left are these flavorless strips with no nutritional value to which chicken broth is added, as if they were noodles. That is, you're basically eating chicken noodle soup. This lousy soup would taste exactly the same without the shark fin.
Well, it's tough to be a habitable planet and have the virus, that parasite called human beings, living inside you. This one, 8,000, is the most expensive. And here it comes. Look, it looks like a little blade. Here it is. Look, check out the size of the fin. Now imagine the size of the shark. They didn't turn this one into soup. It's so big, they decided to use it as a display to attract customers and tempt people passing by.
They'll say, wow,
Look at that, what a fin, a huge shark fin. The soup must be delicious. And then they go inside. Look at all the delicacies they have here. The variety you can eat here is endless. And cheap, good price. Even a vegetarian menu. And it's empty. And over there, the line. To go eat your shark fin soup. I don't know why they're so obsessed with eating shark fin.
I have so many delicious things in this market. Look, there are some roasted stingrays with river shrimp. Here are fruits you can pair with seafood and your rice dishes. All kinds of seafood, but freshly caught from the river.
Eating this is pure indulgence because there are countless varieties of food available and very cheap for a fraction of the price of shark fin soup.
And delicious and natural. Look, everything here is organic and natural for just a few dollars. You leave full and well fed.
Originally, this soup was only for very special occasions. Weddings, celebrations, graduations. And it was only for the highest class. That's why they would kill about 100
to 200 sharks
per year
at most. This amount doesn't affect marine ecosystems, and the price of this soup was very high. It's reported to be $100 to $200 per plate in low-income countries. The most expensive one reported is the fin of the baby whale shark. It could reach up to $15,000. For example, if you were served shark fin at a wedding, it meant that the families were very wealthy and had a lot of status. And so this food, more than just a soup, became a symbol of wealth. Something to show off, just like those Arab weddings where they give an iPhone and a Tesla to every guest.
But as the economies of Asia grew, they diversified, they urbanized, they globalized, they digitalized, and the prosperity of citizens in Asian countries increased. And their middle class started gaining more purchasing power. And that mindset took hold. Hey, that shark fin soup that only the rich eat, I can eat it too. And not just at my wedding, but on a Monday morning. And as a result, we see this whole neighborhood full of restaurants that sell it to you. Which is really cool. If it makes you feel prosperous, if it makes you feel like your work has been worth it, that's great. But we can't kill 100 million sharks a year.
Even from a capitalist point of view, the shark could be worth more alive than dead in the tourism industry. In Tahiti, for example, a whale shark can bring you up to $2 million in its lifetime just by posing for photos. But no, let's put it in a bowl of soup instead, say the little fools.
They sell you shark soup there. Fruit here, tourists, more fruit, shark soup, shark fin soup, shark fin soup. And over there too, shark fin soup. It's already basically street food. Look, it's there too.
In this restaurant, it's super cheap. It's 300 baht, which is about $10. This profit, 300 baht, it's not worth losing our oceans, in my opinion. And look at all the other options they have. They're delicious. These are shrimp bowls.
Fried
fresh fish with
fish soup.
Rice. I mean, so many options. And super cheap.
It's 4 or 5 times more.
Of course, everything
else in the menu. Why?
Are you overspending?
To screw up your own planet?
Wow. This whole street just goes on and on. Look, every 10 meters you see one of these. Look, and they're all different prices. Here, these ones are cheap. It's not just for the upper class anymore. In some places, they don't even translate it into English. They don't put shark fin soup. But they put little pictures for you. Look, that's how you know. And I find it very suspicious that they eat this dish so much. There has to be something more to it. Some belief. And after looking into it, I found that the belief is that shark fin soup helps you fight aging. That it reverses the aging process like the fountain of eternal youth, which has no evidence at all.
It's not true. And that's how we're going to wipe out the planet's wildlife because of fantasies with no scientific basis. That it cures impotence, makes your member grow, and protects you from witchcraft. The same thing that happened with the white rhino's horn, tiger's claw, and elephant ivory tusks. We are eating the most majestic creatures this planet has ever produced into extinction. When there is evidence that there will be no changes in your body or health. Oof! They're even worse than those religious people who believe that shark fins have miraculous properties.
But even so, the belief is still there, and the one who is going to pay right now is the shark, then the entire oceans, and ultimately, all of us. Because without oceans, there is no life on the planet.
So, what can be done here? How can we prevent this? Well, currently all the bans and laws have made Peru the largest exporter of fins in the world. And most of these fins come from Ecuador, by the way, which drove the prices down even further. Well, it's still completely legal to eat shark meat, but there might be some measures. For example, a rule that fishermen have to bring the whole shark body to shore, ban the soup as well, like in the G25 countries. If there's a ban, there will always be a black market, but it does reduce it. So the
Asian countries where it's consumed the most started to impose laws that restrict the consumption of the soup. But that's when people started to complain. This is already a dictatorship. This is total control. The government wants to tell us what we can and can't eat. It's the reptilians. And you already know how conspiracy theories are every time a new law comes into effect. And yes, the truth is that it is restrictive.
Imagine a law that says you can eat chicken but not the wings. There are even people who see this ban as a violation of their basic human rights, such as freedom of expression, freedom to consume, and their religious freedom.
The consumption of this soup is dividing the world. You are free to eat whatever you want, even if it destroys the planet. But the consumption of this soup is not decreasing. Instead, every year it doubles or triples. And there is no end to the consumption of this soup in sight.
Now, my opinion, the consumption of this soup is tradition, it's culture. And we already know that traditions are very hard to give up. The possible extinction of a species or even our own extinction doesn't help people give something up. On top of this, add that Hollywood gave sharks a bad reputation and the general public an irrational fear of them. And there you have it. Almost no one cares if they go extinct. There isn't a single solution you can point to and say this is it, but rather a combination of several things: education and restrictions. That is, a ban on fishing, consumption, sale, and preparation of fins. Information about the importance of sharks and the oceans, and information about the myths that it cures aging, especially in China, because they are the ones who consume this the most.
This one even has a small museum out here where it shows you the different types and sizes of shark fins to educate you a little before you enjoy it. In fact, the establishment's own description says Shark Fin Restaurant. Now, am I going to go for a big bowl of shark fin soup? No, because I think, in my opinion, tell me if you disagree, I don't need to take part in the activity I'm reporting on to make a complete report. I feel that from here I can give you all the information without needing to take part in the problem I'm condemning. I don't want to set a bad example. I feel that up to this point I've done an acceptable job as a reporter, as someone informing you. Is it possible to make a video to warn you and raise awareness about the consumption of shark fin without trying it? I say yes. In some cases, yes. You can't report on a problem without trying it, without being a participant. It's necessary for educational purposes like these.
In the one I did about food in India, I had to talk about how hygienic it is and what effects it has, so I had to try it.
But in this case, I think that by now you've already understood the message. I mean, what I'm gonna have is a big plate of that soup they have there, and then those fruits with that same fruit juice for dessert. This is like crab pancakes. I'm gonna leave here really full. The conclusion I come to after visiting all these restaurants and all these neighborhoods where they consume shark fin is that this market is an enclave. That is to say, it is mostly supplied, promoted and consumed by people from China, not so much by Thais. Here we are in Chinatown, and most of the people in the establishments are Chinese, and they are the ones who bring it and consume it. If the Chinese population weren't here in Thailand, I can't say that shark fin soup wouldn't be consumed. It would be, but very, very little. I calculate that about 80 to 90% of the consumption of this product is exclusively by the Chinese community. Which is unfair for Thailand because it's among the countries with the highest consumption of this product, the ones that do the most harm to the ocean. Environmentalists label Thailand as a country with a bad reputation, and they're not even to blame. It's the Chinese community that brings this.
And I was going to end this video with a really positive message and good vibes like, yes, let's save the shark, let's save Mother Earth, and let's connect with the universe. No.
But
reading even more, I saw that it's no use to us. Because with the overfishing we have, which is not going to stop, all the other fish will be extinct from the ocean by 2060. So if we save the shark, it won't have anything to eat. That's my report. May courage be with you. See you next time. Bye.